There's no superstar in the NBA whose game is as polarizing as Trae Young's. One moment, he looks like the next coming of Jesus. Another moment, he's a dead fish out of water. Unfortunately, in the 2023-24 season, it's been more of the latter. Trae has been having quite the strange season, and despite a handful of great games, he's been struggling shooting the ball for most of the year. In fact, most of his percentages are well below average from each area of the floor, except for the free throw line, where he's been excellent. The thing is, this isn't new either. Trae's shooting over the years has always been a point of inconsistency. He's had some stellar games, but even more horrific shooting nights. And in recent times, especially with his dismissal from Team USA, it seems like not everyone is fond of how he plays. What's been going on? How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today, let's break down Trae's roller coaster of a season so far. This year, his struggles are more pronounced than ever. First things first, here's a quick look at Trae's numbers this year. The biggest thing that stands out, in my opinion, is his absurdly bad finishing rate at the basket. This has always been a weak area of his game. He only hits like half his shots at the basket. If you compare it to other guards like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he hits 68% of his shots there. Donovan Mitchell, Steph Curry, and LaMelo Ball are well over 70% this year. Why is Trae such a bad finisher compared to his peers? I can't imagine he doesn't practice these shots, so what gives? It seems like every time Trae drives to the basket, the defense suffocates him very quickly, and he sees multiple contests from different angles. When teams play the Hawks, defenses are more willing to collapse into the paint because they don't respect his teammates' ability to score. They realize Trae is the engine that keeps it going, he's the primary threat that keeps the entire offense together, so they overplay him. This year, it's been working. However, this doesn't tell the whole story. Even for his career, Trae's ability to convert attempts at the rim is horrendous. 57% career field goal percentage at the baskets. It's higher than this year, but still pales in comparison to his peers. We've seen the comparisons with him and Steph Curry and yada yada, but one thing people forget is how small Trae truly is. Listed at 6'1", 164 pounds, the wear and tear is hard for him to overcome. When he feels the slightest bit of contact, it hits him off balance. It's already hard to score at his size, but you combine that with his poor body control, a lot of his close-range shots are just awkward looking. I mean, you can't expect to make shots like this consistently. You compare his attempts to any other star point guards and they just look stronger, sturdier, and more in control of how they shoot. Almost every shot, Trae just looks off balance. As a result of his declining efficiency at the basket, Trae has been shying away from the paint, taking shots further and further away as the years went by. For example, in his rookie year, 27% of his attempts were at the rim, but that dropped to 13% in his sixth season. Being incapable of converting, Trae has been frustrated and started shooting even worse outside shots. Contested two-pointers, heavily contested threes. Even with his slump, he still has the confidence to take them, which I respect. Out of everyone who shoots at least 7 threes a game, his percentage isn't bad, but it could be much better if he cuts down on bad attempts. This is how I would describe him. Trae is not a bad shooter. He's a good shooter who takes bad shots. Some of these shots, if 99% of the league attempted stuff like this, they'd get benched immediately. But Trae has been taking these ever since he was a rookie. This is a part of who he is. It's a habit he's developed over the years, and he has seen moderate levels of success. When it comes to the physicality that Trae has experienced, he's been quite vocal about it. He's been asked about his struggles multiple times this season. This is how he responded the first time. Some of that is playing through contact and the refs not calling that, and that is leading to bad shots that are going off the glass that I am getting fouled but not getting the call. I just have to play through that. When talking about their poor defense, he explained, Our offense is affecting our defense right now, to be honest with you. I think our defense has been really good, but our offense maybe is sometimes I will go up and I won't get the call, and I will shoot a layup under the basket, and then they are in a 5-on-4 that way. Trae said multiple times that he's unhappy with not getting calls. But in reality, his free throw rate is at the highest of his entire career. He attempts 1.1 free throws per every 2 field goal attempts. He's shooting nearly 10 free throws a game, a career high. So, maybe they are missing calls, but he's certainly getting a lot of foul calls regardless. On the bright side, there's a lot of positives in light of Trae's struggles. Despite his inconsistent shooting, the Hawks still have the league's second best offense. The rest of his team has picked up the slack. When Trae is on the floor, the Hawks are still a much better team, as evidenced by the huge net rating swing of like plus 7 or 8 points when he's on the floor compared to the bench. Just because of all the attention he's commanded this season, he lures the attention away from his teammates. Multiple players, including DeJounte Murray, Jalen Johnson, and Saddiq Bey, are having the most efficient scoring seasons of their careers, in part due to Trae's insane gravity. That's always a huge benefit he provides. Even when he has difficulty scoring, opponents still treat him like he's an elite scorer. They still stick to him like superglue. They concoct their entire game plan to stop him. So now everyone else has more chances to shine. That's why the Hawks are still a highly competitive team. They're not at the bottom of the barrel, at least not yet. One common trend with every single roster since Trae joined the Hawks has been their bottom-tier defense. In 6 seasons so far, the Hawks have been a bottom 10 defensive team every single year, and this year is no exception. Trae is a catastrophe on defense, an absolute tragedy of a defender, and that's underselling it. Over the years, his defensive woes have been well documented. Just in the 2022-23 season, Nathan Walker of TheAnalyst.com introduced a new metric that considered multiple plus-minus metrics and other advanced tracking methods to create a stat that tries to calculate a player's impact on defense. Trae not only ranked near the bottom in every single stat included in this metric, but he ranked dead last in this metric itself. Defense is always subjective, but if somebody asked you a question, who's the worst defender in the NBA? If you say Trae Young, nobody's gonna argue that. The Hawks know he's their franchise player and this is something they gotta deal with, and they have made efforts to minimize his weaknesses by getting players to cover for him. Initially, I wasn't a fan of the DeJounte Murray trade, cause the Hawks gave up 3 first-round picks. But now that I've been seeing more and more of Trae's defense, I understand why they made this deal. With Murray's reputation as a great defender, heck, he was an All-NBA defender too, and even so, the Hawks' defense has not improved at all. Aside from his exceptional ability to draw fouls, whether you like it or not, there's another aspect of his game that remained a steady engine for the Hawks' offense: his passing. Trae has always been a fantastic passer since his rookie season, and this is probably his most underrated skill. He's always hovered around a 45% assist rate, meaning when he's on the floor, he records nearly half of his team's assists. As I mentioned earlier, Trae's teammates have elevated their games, and he plays a huge part in helping them succeed. We all know the Hawks' future lives and dies by Trae Young. He cannot keep shooting this poorly if the team wants to succeed. Since that run to the Eastern Conference Finals, Trae and the Hawks have flamed out in the playoffs several times, and his play severely regressed in the playoffs. I feel like as the years progressed, more and more teams have gotten used to playing against him. Even during the season, everyone knows his weaknesses and habits now. Maybe it's all in his head. It's up to Trae to adapt, and so far, he has not been able to. Anyway, that's all, folks. Let me know your thoughts on Trae. If you've seen the Hawks, what do you see in their team that really stands out? Do you think they need a complete revamp of their roster to compete once again? Remember, not too long ago they were competing toe-to-toe with the best teams in the conference. Now they've fallen far behind, while other teams got a lot better. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.